Hi everyone, thanks for joining us on Top Notch Agents. I'm John Holston. One of the very first decisions a brand new agent is going to make is settling on a brokerage to work with, who they're going to hang their license with. I cannot overstate the importance of that decision. In fact, frankly, it can make or break a new agent's success in the business. Why the big deal? What about it makes it such a huge decision? Today I'm with John Simmons, joining me in your office here. This is C3 Real Estate in Colorado, C3 Real Estate Solutions.
Yes, sir.
John is a co-founder and managing broker here. So we're going to get into our topic today, but first tell us a little bit about yourself. How did we get here today? We were just joking off camera. You said from camouflage to doing this type of thing. So you were in military at some point.
I was. No, thank you, John. Thank you for this time. Prior to getting into real estate, I spent 6 years in the United States Army. I was in 1st Ranger Battalion in Savannah, Georgia, and I enlisted in 1993, and I got out October of 1998.
Okay.
So I spent just 1 month shy of 6 years. You know, as squad leader for combat search and rescue, did several deployments. However, I hurt myself in an airborne operation, and that did that career. So in 1990, out 2 months after my injury, I was out. So when I got out, you kind of decide, all right, what do I want to do? But great journey in the restaurant industry. What I lacked was balance and quality of life. You know, I had none of that. It was all work. You know, so my priorities were upside down. I started reading books on real estate, investing in real estate, flipping houses, and I started acquiring properties. You know, so that's what got my foot in the door into real estate.
John, you've got a great background, and one that is very conducive to going from the military to the restaurant business to real estate. I mean, they actually all kind of blend together in a great way. When making a decision, when a new agent is making a decision about what brokerage to go to, is it really that big a deal?
Man, it's a huge deal. You know, I could say that. When you hear the national statistic as far as the failure rate, you know, 80%, 90%, of new agents not renewing their license after 1 year to 2 years, that's probably a good sign that you should slow down, interview as many companies that you can, find out what programs they have to offer before you just sign on board with any real estate company. You know, real estate companies obviously make money by the number of licenses that they have within the company. You know, there's companies that will stack them in deep and they'll stack them in high, you know, as fast as they can. You know, but what's the turnover in those companies, right? It's extremely high. So I think every new agent getting into this business needs to have a series of questions to ask every employing broker as to what makes you different, what makes you tick, what are the training programs that you have? Do you have office meetings? What's the compensation package? But they need to look at the entire package and not just the fee that the company is charging. But again, it's a huge decision as to what company are you going to work for.
How did you make your decision?
So I got my license January 20th of 2006, and I interviewed at least 20 companies, no joke. Little mom and pop companies, you know, Blue Tree, Porch Light, Kentwood, some of these Denver companies, up north, Remax Alliance, Keller Williams. I interviewed 20 companies, and I created an Excel spreadsheet. And on there, I didn't know what questions to ask. I knew that in every office, you know, there was set fees. Well, I wanted to know, what are your weekly, monthly, quarterly, what are the annual fees? What do you charge? What's the support that you give to justify those fees? Well, there was companies where you could work for free, right? It's like take 100% of your commissions, but they lacked in presence. They lacked in many of the support systems that are in place.
You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for, absolutely.
Right.
You know, there were other companies that charged the highest amount. Well, great, show me why you're charging that, and can I justify the expense?
So what did you settle on?
I settled on the most expensive company that was in town. And that's because I knew my areas of opportunity. I knew my weaknesses. You know, I knew at that company I was going to have staff support. I knew that they had a good market share and presence in northern Colorado in the community. They had solid leadership. And so the higher price justified the decision, if you will.
I want to speak to you realtors right now. Think about that answer right there. So John said that he actually went with the most expensive brokerage in town
as a rookie
to get started as a rookie, and I did too. Okay, I did the same thing, and some people would say that's not very smart, right? I mean, you're just getting your business started, but really, conversely, is the truth.
Smartest decision I ever made, you know, because they supported me in the areas in which I needed help.
Right. So when you think about around the country, there are a lot of companies, right? Keller Williams, Remax. What are some of the things when you're interviewing these companies? What are some of the things you should look for specifically that you would probably find helpful? Having the benefit now of looking back on your career, maybe you'd ask the same questions. Maybe there's other things you look for, but what should people be looking for?
No, there's a lot of questions. I mean, in addition to the office fees, are there monthly fees? Is there a transaction fee? Is there a franchise fee? More important to that is what do I get? As a new realtor, what are you going to give me? What does the leadership look like? Right? What are the training systems that are in place? Do they offer you a CRM? Do they train you on that? Is there a database? What's their reputation in the community? What's the culture like within the company? Agents should take it to the next level and maybe talk to other realtors within the firm and just say, hey, what is it really like to work here? Where did you come from and what is your story? So that they could hear it from other realtors that are within the office. Are they collaborative? Are they more competitive, right? What's the energy like, within the office? I remember I interviewed one company and I asked the question, I said, hey, if I need to write an offer on a Saturday, who do I ask? And I remember clear as day, the employing broker said, you call me. You do not disturb these other realtors. They're all independent contractors. I went to another company and I asked the same question. If I have to write an offer on a Saturday, who do I call? That employing broker said, ask anybody in the office. We're all here to help you. So that was a little differentiator between two different companies, in their systems. Because the employing broker will not always be there. And so again, it comes down to what are all the support systems to help me in my first year in this industry.
You just spent most of your time talking about the character of the office and atmosphere, what people have to offer, and you spent a very small amount of time talking about fees and the money. Now, most people switch that around because it's all about the fees and what they're going to take away. But the value that a company provides is huge. It needs to be taken into consideration.
That's huge, and I think questions need to go both ways. The employing brokers need to ask tougher questions of the realtors that are entering into the industry. The realtors entering into the industry need to ask these tough questions of the employing brokers. Just what is it like here? What's your turnover like? What's your retention? They need to ask us, John, what's your financial situation? Are you guys planning on selling? What's the vision? What's the mission of your company? All right, those are deeper questions that everybody should know if they're coming to work, at this company or any other company. A lot of differences. Does a company force a specific relationship upon their realtors? Do you have transaction brokerage? Do you have agency? Do you have opportunities to help tenants? That's why we call ourselves solutions. Is we're not all about buyers and sellers. We want to put people under rooftops and help them regardless of their situation. So, what are all the support systems that are within a company? That's probably a big question to ask. What's the structure and what's everything underneath that? The deep roots. And do the employing brokers care more about their bottom line? Are they numbers driven, or do they care about the people more than they do the numbers?
And that's something I think a lot of people really need to be careful about, because I do think that is the case with many companies. You've got the employing broker looking at their bottom line, and they have to, but it's also something that they need to look out for the people who are working with them.
Agreed.
That's a huge piece of it. So some brokerages, frankly, will take a heartbeat. Okay, if you can
fog a mirror, you're hired.
Yeah, if you can breathe, you're on, right? But I think that we would probably agree that it's just as much the agent choosing the broker as the broker choosing an agent, right?
Correct.
And so
It
we
is.
want to see some people passed over in some companies, right?
Agree.
Have you ever kindly explained to someone that they were not a good fit?
Many times, so that's the fortunate thing about our concept is we will interview at least 10 before we hire one. And there's times where we've made the wrong decision. We didn't ask the right questions, or they didn't ask the right questions of us. Somehow they snuck into the company, if you will. However, we're quick. If you're not adding value to our company and our culture, we're quick to let them go even after we've made the decision. People want to be here. Therefore, we do have low turnover. Our phones ring daily. Today, I received 2 phone calls from realtors wanting to join C3, and it all starts with an interview. Most managing brokers will hire anybody that comes in. The more realtors they have, if they close 1 to 2 transactions, they're fine with that. They have no minimum standards, right? Just come in here, and they're hoping that they close 2 to 3 transactions, right? Solid companies, you might ask that question, is what are your minimum standards here? What does it take to be a part of this organization? I mean, that differentiates many of the companies that are out there. We have set standards for our sellers, we have set standards for our buyers. And you can't take your own photography, you can't have sloppy marketing. If it gets to that point, you're out of here. To be a part of our company, you're maintaining this minimum standard. If you ever want to go below the line, pick any other great company that's out there.
When a new real estate agent is interviewing a brokerage, is there anything they should listen for specifically that if they hear it, they need to run out the door? You know what I'm getting
Yeah,
to?
I'm kind of humorous. I'm kind of that.
No.
If they say, "Oh, you're perfect for our company," and they don't know you and you don't know them, that just shows desperation. If somebody's calling you and saying, "I'll waive your office fees for the entire year. Come sign up with me," that's showing you desperation.
You want to work for a desperate company?
Yeah. Do you want to work for a desperate company? No. It's like, who out there is truly living by abundance, right?
And I think really, going back to the money piece of it, right? I think that I tell people, listen, when you're looking at the bottom line and there's a high cost involved potentially, it is an investment. You get what you pay for. Find the money. Find a good brokerage, and if it's going to cost you a little more, live with it, make it happen, right? It pays off in the end.
You're right. You get what you pay for.
So let me ask you this. I'm a brand new agent. I come to you, I'm interviewing you and talking to you about my aspirations. What do you want to hear from me? What is it that I can say that's going to make you just want to grab onto me and start the race?
My interviews are completely different, I can tell you that. I mean, character is the number one C in our company and our core values. And I ask a lot of character-based questions. I want to get to know you on a personal level. Then again, this is a big decision for a new agent coming in and asking me questions. They need to get to know me on a personal level as well. So I would mix up the questions, employing broker to realtor to employing broker, and ask some personal questions, ask some character-based questions. I care more about the person. If there's an area of opportunity, let's say they don't have the largest sphere, or their financial situation isn't the strongest, but everything else is there, they have the it factor, we might extend an offer knowing that, hey, we could help them with this particular piece to the puzzle. I would say sphere is important when you're getting into the industry. How big is your sphere? How many people know, like, and trust you? That's important. One of the big questions an employing broker doesn't ask the realtor who's interviewing is, well, what is your financial situation? Right? People get into this industry thinking it's quick and easy, and it's not. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of capital to get started. You're purchasing signs and lock boxes and brochures and marketing plans, seller guides, buyer guides. Those are things that those are items that some companies might give you as support, and there's others in which it's on your own. You have to produce, you have to create those items, you have to pay for those items. All right, so all that is part of that entire compensation package.
There's all sorts of things. Do they provide business cards? Do they provide slicks for marketing? Do they have a buyer packet?
Correct.
Do they have these different things that will save you time having to put it all together?
Correct.
So that's something you might want to be looking for.
I would agree. The tools that you need to survive in this industry.
Right. So I think back to one thing real quick is the whole idea that some people will go and speak with different brokerages trying to convince someone to bring them on, right? Some people will take that approach. Others, however, it does need to be an interview because they're making a huge decision. They're taking the risk. They are setting the stage, the trajectory for their career. It's a huge decision.
No, I would agree.
When you talk about support, which you've brought up several times, what do you mean? You did explain the time you ask about contract and who can help you. What other types of support is there?
I would say it starts with the leadership. What does that look like? Are there other managing brokers that are available in the event that the principal or the employing broker is absent? Is there staff support? Is there a mentorship program within the company? Are there training tools? Are there weekly training meetings? Are there office meetings? Like, what are all the support systems, tools that a company has to help these new realtors get propelled in this challenging industry?
When you are speaking with a new agent or someone who's coming to hopefully get on with your company, what do you want? What do you want to see in that person? What is it specifically they need to possess?
We're looking for 3 major components, and that's the 3 C's to our company, which is character, culture, and commitment. What is their character? What is their reputation? Are they adding value to our culture? And then what is their commitment level? Those are the 3 biggest things that we're looking for. In addition, there's deeper questions as far as administrative skills, their financial situation, how do they rank their initiative, their level, what's their sphere of influence. So we look at everything before we personally make a decision to hire somebody at our particular company.
So I think this is a really an important piece as well, because you need to be looking for a company that does have a clear objective, a clear goal in what they are hoping to accomplish. Not just go out and sell real estate, but go sell real estate, but this is how we're going to help you get there. Look for that in a company and be willing to pay a little extra for it potentially.
Yeah, that's actually in our office policy manual, as we are a quality company versus quantity company. And so we have a few agents that'll do 100 transactions, however, they're quality transactions. We have others that'll do 3 to 5 transactions because they're involved in the community, they're single parents, but they're quality transactions.
John, thanks for joining us.
Oh, pleasure.
Always
Thank you.
great to see you.
Good to see you as well,
Okay.
man.
And thank you all for joining us here on TopNotch Agents. I appreciate it. Remember, we are here because we do really care about your success. We want to see you do amazing things in your business, and that is why we are here. Make sure you stay in touch with us at topnotchagents.com. See you next time.